Welcome back to Callahan's Corner, where you ask the questions and the Simple Growth team answers your questions live on Facebook. So I had a question submitted on one of the Facebook groups today, how to go in and set up a standardized pricing matrix for mulch and gutter cleaning. Well, two great examples. Gentleman asked a question. So here at Callahan's Corner, you ask the questions and we answer them live on Facebook. So whether you're joining us live or on the recorded version, feel free to drop in your questions. But we're going to break this down in the methodology that we actually teach at Simple Growth Deep Dives, where people actually come to New York and spend 2 full days with us, and we build out their whole entire service autopilot estimating system and then train them how to use the whole system from lead acquisition to fulfillment. So going to kind of lift the hood here of what a couple services could look like in a deep dive scenario and literally spell out the process of how to do this in your business if you want to do it for yourself. So buckle up and here we go. So I'm going to actually dive in and show you the details. So I'm going to hop on the other screen here and narrow down the screen so you can actually see it. So first thing we want to do is square footage of mulch and linear foot. So we're going to deal in a square footage area and linear length. So if you're doing home cleaning, this would be a great example of one of the ways we actually set up the square footage to clean the home as well. So what we're going to do here is first is we want to go into the gear icon and go into custom fields. So foundationally, this is something that we're going to want to do first. And we're going to go in and go to custom fields and create a square footage for the beds and a linear length for the gutters. So we go into add a square footage, and I'm just going to call it CC for Callahan's Corner so we can find it easier. And bed square feet, 1 inch. It's going to be associated customer, and the value is going to be text. And we're going to go hit save new. We're going to do the same exact thing, but we're going to go in and plug that in for 2 inches of mulch. So that what we're going to do is go in and customize this so we can actually give an estimate for 1, 2, or 3 inches of mulch. And then we're going to base the gutter cleaning on linear length. So I'm going to show you how we break this down step by step. So comments or questions drop below. Happy to answer them on the fly here while we're live or in the recorded version for the next 48 hours or so. So now we've created custom fields for bed square footage at 1, 2, and 3 inches. Value type is going to be a number, so we can do mathematical equations off it. Then we're going to do one more here, and we're going to do linear feet of and that is going to be a number, and it's associated to the customer. So now foundationally, we've gone in and created all of our custom fields that are needed for the estimate. So I'm going to hop on my other screen here and pull out another tool that we use, if I can find it real quick. I literally saw this question, and I wanted to put some content up today, so I thought it would be a great idea to answer this question live that was just submitted on the fly here. So perfect. So we've got our pricing blueprint. So I'm going to pull this sheet over here, and this is what we use as the blueprint. So I use the analogy of a house. So you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint. You're not going to put random doors and windows in a house. You really don't want to build a matrix, whether it's in Service Autopilot or any software for that matter, without a blueprint. So a lot of folks call that blueprinting and implementing all at the same time. So I'm going to scroll down here till we got a couple boxes here are empty. So I'm going to go in with service 12, and what I'm going to do is go in and create our mulch. One inch. And I'm going to go in and base that on a square foot mulch. 1 inch. And for that 1 inch, 1 inch is going to cover up to 300 square feet. And the price, let's say we're installing it for 110 yards installed labor and materials. And on average, it's going to take about 1 hour for one person to install, spread the mulch, and clean up. And let's just say we're going to put in our dollar hour goal. So let's say our goal is $65 per hour per guy, and it's costing us maybe $38 fully loaded cost before we make a profit. So those are the numbers we're going to plug in there. Then we're going to say our cost per material per not 1K, but per 1 yard is, let's say we're buying it from the retailer or the nursery for $28 a yard. So that's our cost before markup. So those are the variables that we need. Then we're going to say every 300 square feet over 300 is $110. One additional hour and $66. And what that does is that takes your labor cost, break even, and add your materials cost. So that is the matrix that we're going to be building out here. And then what we would do is take service 12 here. And let's pull that back over here. Take service 12, make this service 13, and this is going to be our 2-inch depth. We're documenting the name of the service and the inch depth. And then for 2 inches, it's going to be every 200 square feet, still charging 110 per yard because that's a yard, and it's going to still take 1 hour to install that. And everything else is the same. So the next thing is we've got to go one more service here, and we've got to go in and do service 14 for 3 inches or 3 inches of mulch. I've got 1 inch, 2 inch, and now service 13, or actually service 14 now is 3 inches of mulch. So this is our blueprint to build this out. So we're going to relabel this in at 3 inches of mulch, and the custom field is 3 inches of mulch bed square footage. And for 3 inches of mulch, that's only going to cover 100 square feet. So we need to update that there in the matrix. Still, same price to put it in, 110 bucks, and a budgeted hour to put it in for one person. Cost of materials and our labor goal and expenses not change. That's a constant. So that's the foundational part. You need to set the mulch up. And then we had one more question on linear foot of gutter cleaning. So I'm going to make that service 15. Now the gutter cleaning is an interesting scenario. So there's different ways that we've done this at the deep dives, and there is no right or wrong way. So based on a 1, 2, or 3-story home or building, there may be different production rates based on each level because you may be using a ladder or a cherry picker or something else. In this example, I'm just going to consider the production rate to be standard. So we're going to name this service gutter cleaning, and the square footage, the custom field was linear feet of gutter. We've already created that in Gear Icon custom field. So I'm going to say from every 100 square feet of gutter is going to take me, let's just say, a half hour for one person. And what I'm going to do is create the price, so equals 0.15 times our hourly goal of 65 bucks. And I'm going to say each additional 100 square feet over the 100 is an additional $32.50, a half hour, and $47. Now, what we've done here is we've copied this down. Is the only issue here is we've got the materials that came down. So we want to go and delete that out because there obviously is no materials, and that looks a lot better. Now we've got a profit and profit percentage built in. So those are the core areas of setting up your mulch square footage and your gutter cleaning. Now, the next step is we want to go in and create an estimate. So we're going to go into Service Autopilot under the gear icon and go to templates. That's our job estimate template. Now, when we go into this, we're going to go in and add a template once this loads, and I'm going to show you how this is actually broken out. So we go in and add a template. And I'm going to name this CC mulch example. And we're going to show for both estimates and jobs. And now what we're going to do is go in and create the jobs, but first up, or drag the jobs in. But first, we actually have to go in and create the jobs themselves. So I'm going to go in and show you how to create the jobs before we pull them into the template. So being live on Facebook, once in a while, you do forget a step. So sequentially, you want to create your blueprint, create your custom fields, create the services, create the template with the services in there. And then we want to create our on-site estimate form to standardize the estimating for our estimators. So the thing we're going to have to do is go in and create these services. So we go into the gear icon services, we go into build the services. So this is where we're going to build in our mulch 1, 2, and 3 inch depth and the linear foot of hedgerow or gutter cleaning. So first what we're going to do is I'm just going to label them all CC so we can find them. We've labeled it in here. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to copy this down. We do need a code. We need a tax rate. We need per unit. Invoice description. We need an account. And in the estimate, we need an estimate description. And that should cover it. I'm going to save a new. And we're going to go in and do our CC mulch installation, 1 inch. We are going to go in and select the parent service of CC mulch. And we are going to go use an estimates only. And then we're going to go to the rate matrix, quantity rate times visits, select the CC bed square footage of 1 inch. Now it looks like we may have not saved that 1 inch. So let's go into custom fields and make sure we have that before we go in and create this. So we're going to go into custom fields, grab our custom field, CC space hyphen space. Now what we did is you can see the CC bed square footage, we never moved to number. We must not have saved it there. So we're going to go back into that and make that to a number because otherwise it won't show up. We're going to save that, and it is not lion square foot, but it's actually linear square foot. So now we're going to go back into the gear icon and create the sub-services for mulch installation 1, 2, 3 inches and the gutter cleaning. And then we're going to pull that into an estimate template and build an on-site estimate form. So we're going to add a service. And we're going to call the CC mulch installation 1 inch. And we're going to use an estimates only per unit, estimates only, rate matrix, rate times quantity times visits. Custom field is going to be CC 1 inch. And we're going to go in and say from 1 to 300 is a rate of 110. And then we're going to go back to our matrix here. Just double check what that is. 110, 1 hour, and $66 break even. So you can see how that lines up identically. That's why that's our roadmap to success there. So you can blueprint it and then implement it right there. So everything that's on that sheet lines up identical, and it takes the equation out of it. So when you come to a simple growth deep dive, if you end up working with us, we don't only teach you how to fish, but we actually we don't just give you the fish, we actually teach you how to fish as well. So the idea is to make you self-sufficient, just like we're showing you in these videos. So we're going to go in now and create one for 2 inches, and it's going to be per unit again. And we're going in estimates only, rate matrix, quantity rate times visits, CC 2 inches, and then we're going to say every 1 to 200 is 110, 1 and $66 expense. Every 200 for 2 inches of mulch over the 200 base price is an additional 110, 1 hour, and $66 profit, or $60 cost, labor, and materials. We're going to save a new once again, and we're going to build out our third and final mulch, and that's going to be our 3 inch depth. Per units, back in estimates, and we're going into the rate matrix, quantity rate times visits, CC 3 inch, and we're going to say every 1 to 100 is $110 for the yard and labor, 1 hour to put it in, and $66. And once again, this is all getting driven off the price matrix blueprint from Simple Growth here. And then we're going to go in and do the next 100 square feet over the original first 100 is 110 price, 1 hour to do it, and $66 cost, labor, material, break even. Now we've got one more for gutter cleaning. So we're going to go in and do gutter cleaning. Time's sake, I'm just going to paste these in. These things are required. Per unit, should be everything we need there. Estimate description, rate matrix, quantity times rate times visits, and linear gutter feet. And this is going to be 1 And I'm going to go back to the blueprint. So I don't have that one memorized. So 1 to 100 square feet is 3250. These 3 or 4 cells line up now identically. So 1 to 100 is $32.50 with a half hour to do it right from here, and $19 expense before profit. Then we're going to take that same equation and say every 100 square feet over our 100 linear feet, every 100 linear feet over the base price of 100 linear feet is an additional $32.50, 5 hours, and $19. And we would save that. So now we've built our mulching for 1, 2, and 3 inches, and now we've built our gutter cleaning at linear length. So we are going to go back to templates. We're going to add these services in. So I'm going to add the service of the CC mulch. And we're going to apply that. And then we're going to go in and do our service of CC 1 inch. And we're going to include default services. And we're going to go CC mulch 2 inches. And CC mulch 3 inches. Apply. So now we've got mulch. Now we can define what the depth is. I'll show you what that looks like from the on-site estimate. This is going to be pretty interesting if you haven't seen this. Next thing we're going to do is go in and put the service for CC gutter cleaning. And that is it. So let's just make sure we pulled the right one over. Yep, that's it. Perfect. All right, so now we have our services lined up, and we're going to go in and select an estimate document. And use a lawn care example. We're going to reload that. Yes. And hit save. Now, the last thing we want to do is go under marketing forms and create an on-site estimate form. So this is the ability to pull up in your mobile phone or in your tablet as you're on site. So we're going to go in and add a form. And we're going to name it our CC on-site form. Have any comments or questions, feel free to ask them live here. I'm happy to dive in on the spot. Like I said, we've been doing these day in and day out, almost 100 of these deep dives last year alone, just doing this. So we're going to put our name and address on here. First thing we want to do is take this map to field and name it to first and last name. Then address needs to be mapped to service address, not billing address. That allows that to be logged in. Under form settings, we need to go in and let it show on the mobile so we can use it in the field. We may want to show attachments if we're taking pictures, approve on submit, and auto commit and update a lead. So those are the main features here. Now, the next thing we need to do is go and add some number fields. So I'm going to go in and add 4 of these. You'd obviously want to style this and make it a little bit cleaner. But mulch, so this is actually going to be bed square foot, 1 inch mulch. And then we're going to go and map it to custom field, bed square footage 1. And we're going to go in and label this one 2 inches of mulch, 2 custom field. And we're going to go to CC 2 inches of mulch. And we've got line 3. We're going to go in and paste that in and edit it up again. And this is going to be 3 inches of mulch, map 2, custom field, 3 inches. Last one here is going to be our gutter cleaning. Linear feet of gutter to be cleaned. And we're mapping that to a custom field. And we're going to go in and grab that CC linear feet of gutters. And that's literally all you need. So now what we're going to do is save and close. So we've got our, as a quick review, you've got your basically your blueprint here. You've built your services, you've defined your custom fields, you're building your custom fields, you're building your services with the matrices, parent and child services, you're building a form that's mapped back to your custom fields, and you've taken your estimate template, loaded everything in, and connected to the estimate document, which in turn connects it to the estimate grid, estimate email, estimate document, and acceptance email. So that's all the key parts of this as you're looking at it. Like I said, anybody watching live or recorded, feel free to answer questions, and I'll answer those live as well on this or any other topic within reason. So now proof is in the pudding here. We're going to save and close this estimate template, and we're going to go in and add a client or grab a test client. Now what we've got here is mulch installation. So ideally you want to go to your Maps Pro and measure this out. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to show you how to use the form we just built on site if you can't measure it off the satellite as well. So once this loads up, we'll be able to rock and roll in here and get this going. So basically we're going to go in now and measure this online. And then we're also going to go in and use the on-site estimate form. So it's the form you'd have in your phone or tablet as you walk around the property. So we're going to go into satellite. We are going to zoom in, and we are going to spin it around, kind of come in. Probably hard to see on the computer here, but this bed we can see pretty good. I'm not going to spend the time to pull the walkway out of it, but we've got this bed here. So this will work on residential and commercial. So let's save it. We're going to go in and label it. Add mulch. And let's just say we want to do 3 inches. So it's going to be the ability to track 1, 2, or 3 inches. And then we would go in and color code it. Choose it so every time it comes up, we can see it. We can take a picture of this and so the guys and girls can see it in the mobile. And then what we're going to do is save this. So we'd go to our CC 3-inch mulch square footage right here, hit save, and that 581 square feet would automatically be calculated to start a price. Now, the next thing that would happen is we can't measure this online. We go to the A for auto assist or in your mobile and pull up this form. So this is a shortcut form or key that you'd be able to see here. So what I'm going to do is go in and under our plus icon here, I'm going to pull up and just add a form as a shortcut. And then when I do that, I can label it, and then it's always accessible here as well. So what we would do is just call this on-site mulch. And you search for your form. On-site form. And we'd select a avatar here. And we'll make an anchor. So now that we have that, we'd go away in our mobile and select this. All the information automatically loads in, and now I've got the option of 1, 2, and 3 square foot mulch. So you'd add the number in there that you wanted. It would automatically save it, but I've already measured that online. But I'm going to put in the linear square feet of, or the linear length of the beds, or the gutters. So I'm going to try to pull these down here. And then what I could do is add this in here and go in and use the linear measuring tool and click this. Now let's envision there's gutters all the way across this line here. What I could do is now that's 66 feet there, and I can go in and continue to edit that out. And I could do it in 2 different steps, but for time's sake, you kind of get the idea. So let's say I've got 146 linear feet. So I'll round it up to 147. I can go to the on-site form, put 147 linear feet of gutter to be cleaned, and hit submit. Now, obviously, you can measure it in person or online just like that. And you do be a little more neat and obviously measure it exactly. But this is just a proof of concept. So now that we have that, once we refresh the browser, here on the bottom under details, we have a cheat sheet of all the things that we just tracked all down here. So the bed square footage for 3 feet is 581.52 square feet for the bed of 3 inches of mulch. And when we scroll down, we'd have the linear length of the gutters to be clean. So the next step is, as this loads in, how do we actually create this estimate? So we go into estimate. We'd go to templates. We're going to pull up the estimate template we just made and show you how this all loads in with a price, budget, time, and cost. And then we'll actually go out and send that estimate as well. So once this loads, we'll get in here a little bit slow because I'm actually in the basement office here where we do a lot of the simple growth videos. So I'm going to go into the CC mulch example template, let that load. So as advertised live with the pressure of Facebook here, we've got our mulch installation based on the 581 square feet for $660, 6 hours to do it, $396 cost, fully loaded labor and materials with a 40% net profit margin. So I'm going to hit quote here. All the consumer is going to see mulch installation for $660. So we're able to base it on each size depth that's required. And then under gutter cleaning here, I'll quote this as well. We've got the 147 square feet times the 3250 per 100 linear feet. I've got 1 hour and a $38 cost with a 41% profit margin net. So that's the way we can break those out. Once we hit quote here, we would scroll down and hit save. We're going to scroll back up and hit email, and I'll show you what the final product looks like here. Comments and questions, like I said, drop them below here. I am more than happy to answer them live, or maybe you have another solution for or question for Callahan's Corner. We've got our email here, quote link in it, some buttons to click on, and then we've got our lead letter, the 5 or 6 main reasons why the business is different than the competitors, to address any sales or price objections up front, to shorten that sales cycle and create a higher perceived value before they see the price. And at the bottom, we included some testimonials. The main idea here is we are going to scroll down, hit send. And then I hop on the other screen and grab my email and show you what this actually looks like from the consumer end and how we can electronic signature and manage that process. So any comments or questions, feel free to answer them here before I wrap this up in a few minutes with the final product. And it will hopefully be here in a second, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, here we go. And we're going to swing this over. So now that we have it, this is the actual estimate inside my email. We've got everything is sewn. I'm now your future client. I'm going to click view my proposal. If you're out in the field, you can email this to yourself and flip it over on a tablet and actually present it. So as it loads here, we've got our 2 services. They can click and select. They have no idea that it's based on linear foot or the amount of mulch you were planning on sticking in there. Obviously, best practice, you'd want to detail that, but I'm giving a proof of concept of 1, 2, or 3 inches behind the scenes, or the variability of estimating 1, 2, or 3 inches and showing the consumer the exact amount. Got some invoice terms, contract terms, some clickable buttons, 9 videos that play live inside the estimate. So if people want to know what mulch is included, you click on it, and it's a live video that plays live inside the estimate. So it actually talks about what's included, what's not included, and addresses any sales or price objections in this live video. So this is your 24-hour automated salesperson live inside your estimate. And once you scroll down, we click here to sign. The consumer signs it electronically with their mouse, hit save, they print it, accept proposal. Here, a screen's going to pop up, and typical Facebook Live fashion, I didn't select a service, so I'm going to select the mulch, scroll down, and hit accept. Now, a screen's going to pop up and say thank you. I will be getting an email in the next 2 to 3 minutes acknowledging that I've accepted the email or the estimate and thanking me. And then what we're going to do is go back into Service Autopilot under the View Client, close out this estimate, and show you what actually happens now. So as I refresh this, this will have the estimator here folded up as it's a 1 estimate for basically view hygiene. And then I'm going to hit this 10, open up the estimate. And when I do have that there, I should have an IP address, time, and date stamped with the signature information, as well as I should have an electronic signature that's printable with a PDF. So I go into that estimate here. And there's my signature, time and date stamped IP address. And under attachments here, when I click on it, it's going to pull up a PDF that's printable with this actual electronic signature. So if you're looking for different state laws for pesticides or other things like that that are coming up for renewal, this will scratch that itch in 99% of the states. And if it's allowed in New York, it's probably allowed anywhere in the world. So same exact thing. I didn't accept the gutter cleaning, so all that shows up is what I accepted. And when I scroll to the bottom, we have that electronic signature as well. So Tom wants to know, how old are the images you're mapping off of? How do you accurate shrub growth and shrub coverage? Tom, what we do is we just take an average. So with a little shrub coverage, those numbers will work. I'd rather have a little extra material than not enough material. Those images in there in Maps Pro and Service Autopilot are up to date, pretty close. So if you go into property measurements, there's usually a date on there from Google when it was updated last. I'll pull this one up to see how old this is, because that's a great question. Map data is copyrighted 2020. Let me just take a look here. I would say, judging on this neighborhood, this is one of the neighborhoods that we serviced. I would say this is within the last year and a half, 2 years. So I would say that's probably pretty reasonable, but I can't give you an exact date, to be honest with you. But I do know a couple of these homes here had pools in them, and they're gone now, and that was within the last year or two. This is one of the neighborhoods we first started out in. So I would say within the last year or two, this is accurate. A lot of times in the GIS information here, it'll actually list the date it was done as well. So great question, Tom. But yeah, I think those mulch numbers that I gave you there are actually pretty conservative. You can go to the bank with them. But obviously you need to make sure the numbers work for your business and you're comfortable with them. So that's how you tackle mulch square footage estimates based on different depths and linear length of an estimate for something like gutter square footage. So Callahan's Corner, you ask the question, Simple Growth team answers them live on Facebook. Submit your questions at Simple Growth Systems Facebook page, and we will get them live on Facebook for you in this fashion several times a week. Look forward to seeing you in the next Callahan's Corner.